What's it like being a councillor?
A lot of hard work. Depends on the kind of role that you have as councillors. You have backbench councillors, and you have councillors who are on the cabinet as well, which is the kind of political executive of the authority. My first 6 months or so, I was a backbencher, a new councillor elected in May, and then just before Christmas I was appointed to the cabinet. So when I came back from the Christmas holidays, it became a whole new kettle of fish. And it's a lot harder work, and you're involved in a great deal of detailed policy development.
How do you feel that Milton Keynes is developing in terms of business?
Milton Keynes is an incredible city that's experienced a great deal of growth. It has done for the past 40 or 50 years, and that is continuing. We have had a number of reports recently, notably from the Centre for Cities, has identified Milton Keynes as the fastest growing city in the country. And with that, of course, a lot of economic development and inward investment. And I think they reported that last year we increased employment in Milton Keynes by about 10,000 people, this is a phenomenal rate. So yes, we are prosperous, and we are growing up as a city as well. We're becoming a mature city now, and with that also comes a number of kind of grown-up city problems. So we do experience, therefore, issues around skill shortages, pressure on transport because of that growth. But I think Milton Keynes is better placed than almost anywhere else in the country to deal with that.
You said issues with transport. There's congestion in the mornings, there's growing congestion, and there's new housing developments in places like Newton Lees, Broughton, which has obviously expanded, Brooklands, where it's now gone into. How difficult do you think the traffic issues are going to be in the next 10 to 15 years?
Well, we are going to experience an increase in mobility. The issue is, how do we address that, offering a lot of smart choices across a range of different transport modes. The car's always going to be really important for Milton Keynes, but also we need to offer alternatives. So therefore we need to have improved bus services, improved cycle opportunities, encourage people to walk. And it's not just for reducing congestion, but it's also to improve a range of things like health and welfare as well, and of course reduce our carbon footprint.
Do you have a view on the driverless pods that are to be introduced from the station to Midsale Place?
This is absolutely fantastic, isn't it? This really shows that Milton Keynes is an innovative city and willing to try things that are new. And it's going to be very interesting when we start seeing those running around. Now, it is very exciting, and it's great that the government has backed the project and has backed the investment into this. And we do need to try new ways of improving transport, helping people get to and from different places within the city, and being able to provide that transport from the station up into the centre through innovative approaches like driverless pods is great. And this is not just about the pods themselves, but it's also about the technology. It's about the electric vehicle technology. How can we refine and improve that? It's about the autonomous aspect as well, because maybe we don't just have autonomous pods. Maybe in the future we have autonomous minivans. Who can tell? And there are a number of other things that we can do. So we can look at the demand responsive transport, which the driverless pods are one aspect of. But actually, how can we find systems where buses become more responsive to demand? Maybe we can have minibuses that go to different places depending on who wants to travel and when. And there are all sorts of different ways that we can reconfigure and reinvent public transport, which is something we're really keen to do.
It's an innovative idea, but some critics have said that there are buses there that are regular every 5 minutes or so, taking people up to the same place that the pods are going to, and quicker. So for the money that's being invested in the pods, some have said that that's actually wasted.
Well, I wouldn't say it's wasted at all, because the money is, trying something out which is different and new, and in itself will lead to new innovation and new ways of doing things. but let's be absolutely clear. Buses are going to be a critical part of public transport going forward. And it's absolutely great. We're going to continue to get the investment from the bus companies into Milton Keynes. As Milton Keynes grows in population and size, actually the market for buses will grow as well, and the demand for buses will grow. And it's absolutely important that we work closely with the bus companies to improve services as much as possible, and to make them as accessible as possible as well. So I'm very keen to continue to develop the bus services. But sometimes buses don't suit people all the time. And buses that are on fixed routes may not suit all people all the time. And therefore we need to find other ways to encourage people not to use necessarily their own private cars, especially if we do have pressure in terms of congestion or parking spaces. And if we can find alternatives, whether it's, for example, bike hire schemes, or whether it's better signposting for walkers, or whether it's driverless pods, or whether it's demand responsive minibuses, these are things to be explored. And of course we explore them as well with the bus companies themselves. So what's a really good example is the number 7 electric bus. Absolutely fantastic project, that. Almost unique as far as I'm aware, this inductive bus charging, where you don't have to charge buses up overnight because they inductively charge at either end of the routes, which means you can keep a whole fleet of electric buses running throughout the whole day. And it's not only good for the environment, it's technologically very good, and it does reduce our footprint, and it gives us the kind of profile as a city that's willing to do things differently and find new ways of going forward.
Is that something you'd like to see on all the buses, all the buses being electric? And if so, what are the cost implications for that?
Well, there's a very good question. Clearly there is a push from the environmental side to try and make reduce the footprint from fossil fuel driven buses. There also may be, as the technology improves, cost improvements as well. But that's what the part of this experiment with number 7 buses is, to actually find out more about the business case and prove that. And it's a 5-year pilot project, so at the end of that we'll discover. But what I can say is that yes, I'm sure that we'll be looking at the opportunity to expand the use of electric buses as much as possible, because we know there's some potential real benefits there. The way to cover the cost of perhaps the upfront investment, well, there are a number of ways that can be done, but I think there will always be kind of conversations with a number of providers, whether it's bus providers and service providers, but also with government as well, and with the government bodies that support innovation in cities. For example, we just put a bid in recently for OLEV funding, which supports the development of electric vehicles, and we've been long-listed, I think, for that funding. I think we're one of 12 cities around the country, and so therefore we're hopeful that we might get some more support there, with which we can kind of develop our aspirations for electric vehicles in Milton Keynes.